Hello, Ambush, and welcome to this episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast here with me, Colton G. And today on the DTP, I am joined by Taylor McKnight of Via Barcelonia, and we're going to go behind the music of their new album, Wonderland. Yes, Wonderland is released today, and we're going to be taking you behind some of the singles on this album. Some of the road that has led Via Barcelonia and Taylor here. The path that led Taylor to meeting his partner in crime in Via Barcelonia, Andrew Allen. We're going to be talking to Taylor today about balancing life as a student and as a musician as well. Because Taylor actually has done some studies, gone to school on the east coast of Canada, while the band is in the west coast. So what has it been like sort of balancing both of those worlds as well? We're also going to, talk to him about what is he studying. We're going to dive into the band's growth from their first singles, their growth in sound, starting out sort of in a world music based influence, now adding a lot more different directions, a lot more pop. What has it been like to go through that journey? And like I said, we're also going to be diving into some of the singles off of this album, which we're also going to be playing for you here today on this episode. You're going to be hearing about a track called It Ain't Over. We're also going to be talking to Taylor about Via Barcelonia's song Somebody and the awesome music video that they put out for it, which was shot all in one take. What was it like to pull that off? And what were some of the cool moments in this music video that I definitely wanted to talk to him about, because it's an incredible video, and some of the things it's just like, how did this even happen? You're going to be talking about all of this and more today with Taylor McKnight of Via Barcelonia. And it is all brought to you by DesertTigerMerch.com, where you go ahead and cop yourself something to support and represent the show everywhere you go, showing your love for all things Desert Tiger. That is DesertTigerMerch.com. And now I think it's about time that we kicked things off with one of those singles that you're going to be hearing about today off of Wonderland. This is It Ain't Over.
Blue skies in a parking lot, sitting on the concrete. Damn it, that was stupid hot. Bunch of friends doing what we could with the things we got. Thought that this was living, we had everything we'd ever want. High school wasn't feeling it, made it out alive. There were times I was gonna quit. Turns out real life is a counterfeit. Had a couple friends check out, guess they were over it. Wasn't made in only one night. The war wasn't won because of one fight. Thinking back on what my mom said, it ain't over till it's over, till it's over. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. Everything could change. Always saying put a bit aside for a rainy day. Do you wanna know what I know is everything will fade? When'd you ever listen to him anyway? We had a good run and then a bad year. Tried to feel numb and make it disappear. Kinda like how loving makes you feel fear. You gotta feel fear and watch it reappear. The world wasn't made in only one night. The war wasn't won because of one fight. Thinking back on what my mom said, it ain't over love is not a perfect band. It ain't over till it's over, till it's over, and it ain't over yet.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hello, is this Taylor of Via Barcelonia?
This is Taylor of Via Barcelonia.
Oh, well, fantastic, because this is Colton Geschwantner with the Desert Tiger Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Colton. How are you?
I am doing great as well. Can't complain. It's a beautiful day, and, well, that's all I need.
All I can ask for, really, these days.
So very true. It's like, oh, the sun is still shining? Great, nice, okay.
Oh, man. Where are you at right now?
Okay, so I'm actually located in Kamloops, British Columbia.
Oh, no way. That's really close to me.
Where are you located?
I'm in Vernon right now.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Oh, dang, that is, like, super close. All right, awesome. So we're connecting today to talk a little bit about yourself and Via Barcelonia. Are you ready to dive into it?
I'm so ready.
All right. So am I. So let's dive into it. I want to know a little bit about what is Taylor's background before finding one Andrew Allen, before you guys get connected, and then exactly how did you guys come to find each other and then decide that you wanted to begin this project together?
For sure. Okay, so myself, I grew up playing drums in church. My dad was a pastor, and so I think that's a great outlet for any musicians that are trying to get experience, especially when you're young, because at least at the church I was going to, or the churches that my dad was pastoring at, there was a strong culture of getting anyone who can play sort of decently well, then like kind of stewarding that craft. So that's kind of where I first started playing drums live, and that would have been around 8 or 9, when I was 8 or 9. And after that, around 14, the worship pastor at the church took me out on tour to Alberta. So that was when? That would have been 10 years ago, I think. Yeah. Later on, though, I started playing with other artists who were opening for bigger artists. So I was playing with a country artist named Jesse Mast, and so we toured across Canada. I played with a guy called Mike Adele. He's based out of Seattle now, and we toured across the States. And yeah, so I was just picking up gigs here and there and also recording music with my church band. But yeah, nothing major was kind of on the cards. It was just kind of waiting tour to tour with different artists. And then I met up with a girl named Olivia Penalva, who was opening for Andrew Allen, because at the time Andrew was her manager. And so Olivia was living out in Vernon, and Andrew was just moving here. And so I got connected with Olivia. I think we played an album release show for her, and then we opened for Andrew at the Performing Arts Center here in Vernon. And that's when I first kind of actually met Andrew. We'd had so many mutual friends, and I'd seen him in the pub like one time years earlier. But other than that, it was like I just knew him as Andrew Allen, and he played with a few of my buddies, and he knew me because those few buddies also played with me. And so yeah, it was just like a situation where you felt like you knew him, but you didn't actually. So after opening for him, we talked backstage, and it was like, yeah, it would be really fun to play together sometime. And then the next year, this is 2017, I went on a trip to Scotland to go sheep farm.
Huh.
So that sounds a little crazy, but yeah, my dad's Scottish, so I was able to go pretty easily and just go work on a farm with this family I knew. And 2 days after I got there, I was going to be there for 6 months because I was starting school in September. So I thought, okay, so I'll go in February and be there for 6 months and then, come home and go to school. And 2 days after I got there, Andrew messages me and says, hey, man, do you want to play with me all summer? Starting in, like end of April. And I'm like, oh, geez. This, of course, I would have, but I just got here. So I'm like, let's rain check till next year. So that's what we did. 2018 summer came around. I had just finished first year in Nova Scotia. And Andrew and I got in touch again. And he was like, hey, if you want to play with me, I'm still down. And I think I actually reached out first pretty early on in the year because I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I said, hey, man, like, if you don't have a guy yet, then I'm open and I'm free. And he jumped on it. So then we started playing together, just the Andrew Allen set. And during that first summer, 2018, he brought out some demos that he'd been working on just by himself in his room, and I thought they were sick. And that's the start of Via Barcelonia. Those were these first demos. They sounded really islandy, a lot of like kalimba and roto-tommy drums. So I was so down, and I said, I basically just cemented myself right then. I was like, if you're doing this, I'm in, whether you like it or not. So when did we first single? So that summer, we finished up a couple songs, like in between Andrew Allen gigs. And then December of 2018, we put out the first single called Just Wanna Dance, which did decently well at streaming in its first couple of weeks. So that was pretty promising. But yeah, that's kind of where we are now and how Andrew and I got to start playing Via Barcelonia.
Okay, because I was going to ask how you guys sort of went about crafting your sound, but Andrew had already sort of started to dive into this more of a world, more cultural sound than his original project had already direction had been going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So he had brought this kind of really, yeah, like I said, this islandy sound, and I came in and I was super into 80s synth pop and Whitney Houston and kind of people that were influenced by those times, like things that the 1975 were putting out. And yeah, I really loved just the 80s sound. So when I came in, we kind of brought in a lot more like a bit like prominent drums, and I'd say, yeah, just more synths. And it just made it sound, I think, a bit more accessible, especially to people who are listening to Love or Laney or, top 40 stuff, just people who are trying to, I don't know, people who listen to Shuffle Play on Spotify and it'll come on and it's like, it's different, but it still works.
Still fits within the vibe, but maybe different enough to catch their attention and go, oh, what is this?
Exactly. That's perfect.
All right, so you said that you guys did a couple of songs in the studio there in 2018. Did you guys record your 2019 EP one at that point as well, or did one sort of take a little bit more time to craft and just put together?
Yeah, so one came around after that single got released. So this is now in 2019, and we started bouncing demos back and forth while I was at school in Nova Scotia during second semester. And I actually flew back to Vernon and Andrew and I were working in the studio. I'm trying to remember this all right now. Andrew and I were working in the studio, and yeah, I think we started to kind of find a track list that we thought these songs were specifically the ones we believed in the most and would fit on an EP altogether. So yeah, that's kind of where one formed, and then all throughout the summer, we worked so hard on that in between Andrew Allen gigs, staying up till like, I don't know, breakfast the next morning, just trying to figure out how to produce, because neither of us had extensive producing experience at all. And so we were doing this all by ourselves. Like, we didn't have anyone else was involved except Andrew and I. And yeah, that's kind of how that worked. We worked on that after Andrew Allen gigs, before Andrew Allen gigs, all throughout that summer, and did it really fast. I mean, we're still very proud of the product, but it was a situation where we were trying to get it done fast rather than kind of make everything pitch perfect, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Just because there were so many time restrictions with you probably having to go back to school, and with all the gigs and
exactly
touring, and Andrew Allen still releasing his own stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and we just wanted to get content out, because up until then we only had the one song, and we had literally probably 25 songs that we'd written apart from the single we released that no one had ever heard. And we hadn't, up until this point, we hadn't played, we'd played gigs, but as Via Barcelonia, but still only that one song was released. And so we put out the singles before the EP was released, and then I think it was September when the full 6-song EP dropped, but we put out some of the singles earlier just because, we were playing shows and we wanted people to be able to listen to the songs we were playing.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, you guys wanted content out there, and having more singles so that you could build up the hype for this debut EP was definitely important.
Absolutely.
I just want to take a quick moment just to break and ask, what exactly were you or are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for environmental studies.
Oh, wow.
At Acadia University.
Okay. Was it a specific reason that you were drawn to Acadia?
Not specifically. It was either going to be UBC in Vancouver or Acadia, just because I liked both of their programs. I guess they both caught my eye, and I was already living in Vernon, and I thought, and my brother actually was already out in Nova Scotia in Wolfville going to school. So I thought it might be fun to go try something new. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole, there wasn't much thought process went into it. It was just basically flip the coin.
Why not? From the West Coast to the East Coast. Might as well check it out.
You got it. I mean, it makes things a bit more complicated trying to be in a band when you're that far apart, but it's working.
Exactly. If you can make it work, school only lasts so long, and then after that, you just continue on from there.
For sure. It's kind of funny, actually, too, because when I'm at school, Andrew and I are extremely far apart. Obviously, we're across the country, and so we're FaceTiming all the time. And then when I'm home, he lives on the complete opposite side of Vernon. We're both technically not in Vernon city limits, because he lives way out, I don't know, just a super windy road past Okanagan Lake, or on Okanagan Lake, but not the side that you get to from town.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm up Silver Star Mountain, so it's even when we are both technically home, we're still a ways away from each other, so we still FaceTime all the time, especially now in this season.
I used to think about the times when you were young and how you'd die to be rich and famous. Yeah, but what you got and what you need, well, now you know it might not be the same. Might not be the same, no. Might not be the same. It's not like life showed up, handed you the keys and said you made it. But if it's up to me and fine by you, let's agree that might not be the way. Might not be the way, no. Might not be the way. When you're down counting you out. It breaks my heart. It tears me to pieces. But it's a good place to start. 'Cause you gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody loves you. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody cares. And I know it feels like nobody knows when you're crying, but trust me, they want to, yeah. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody's there. Remember when we built a castle in the sand at sunrise, somewhere by the ocean, and it all got washed away. Yeah, it all got washed away. Oh, when life showed up, handed you the keys and said don't break it. Oh, well, if it's up to me, if I'm by you, I say let it fall and start again. 'Cause you gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody loves you. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody cares. And I know it feels like nobody knows when you're crying, but trust me, they want to, yeah. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody's there. Thinking about the times when I was young and how I'd die to be rich and famous. But if it's up to me, if I'm by you, let's agree that might not be the way. 'Cause you gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody loves you. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody cares. Nobody knows when you're crying, but trust me, they want to, yeah. You gotta know that somebody, 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 somebody's there.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
All right. So you mentioned that one maybe felt a little bit rushed. You're still proud of it, but maybe you wanted to spend a little bit more time. So now that we're into 2020, we start to maybe take a little bit more of that time, possibly. Take us into the progression, the growth of the group as we go from one into your guys' upcoming EP, Wonderland.
For sure. When did Wonderland start? So we started writing the first song that was going to be on Wonderland, and this was before we even knew what was going to happen with if we were going to release another EP or if we were going to do an album. I really felt strongly we should do more than an EP, but at the time thinking about a 10, 12, 14, 15 song album was a bit, it just felt a bit daunting. when we're so far apart, and the songs we want to put on the record didn't feel like they'd been written yet. And so, yeah, one felt like a really great stepping stone into what we would later sound like and become. And there are so many elements of one that, progressed, and you can kind of hear those similarities on Wonderland, or I guess you will when it fully comes out, but they're just more defined, they're more well thought out, and we honestly just became better producers, and both our visions clicked on what we were trying to achieve with Via Barcelonia. So Wonderland feels, as a whole, just much more us. But we started writing the first song for Wonderland August, I think it was July 2019. So still when one hadn't even been released yet, we started writing a song called Want to Think About, and we didn't know what that was going to be yet. But we just had this chorus idea, and we felt it was awesome. So that was kind of where there's a benchmark for the writing we started to do for Wonderland. And it's not like we knew Wonderland was going to be the name. We didn't figure out that name till the whole album was done. And actually, no, until every song but one was done on the album, because then we were writing on a street in Los Angeles in February before everything got shut down, and the street was called Wonderland. And so I said to Andrew later that night, I was like, hey, I think we should call the album Wonderland. And then after that, we were like, okay, we should maybe try and write a song called Wonderland too, just to make it a bit more cohesive. So that's what happened, and it works. I think it ties the whole album together super well, and I'm stoked for people to hear it. But yeah, most of the album was done when we were apart, except for the times when we were in LA and we were able to produce together in the same room in the Airbnb. Pretty much the whole album was done while I was at school in first and second semester, 2019 to 2020, and Andrew was here, and yeah, we were just bouncing ideas back and forth. School was taking a back seat, and I was just, we were just putting all our heart and soul into trying to get these tracks as best we can, and create something we're extremely proud of now, and I can't wait for people to hear it.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm sure most of your fans can't wait either, so let's dive into some of those tracks. So I want to dive into your second single off of the album, It Ain't Over. It definitely seems like a very inspiring song, trying to maybe self-inspire to say that, bad times happen, but life is like a roller coaster, like a wave. Sometimes that ebb can go down, but sometimes that ebb also goes up.
Definitely. Absolutely. So I think It Ain't Over, you pretty much nailed on the head. Like, it's about going through the tough times and the good, but through everything you're just persisting, because unless you give up, then you have to keep going. So it's like pretty much just a song. We wrote it it's going to pertain to everyone, but it also pertains a lot to us too, in our own situations. Andrew and I, dealing with our own things, and I feel like it's really relatable, because the emotion, the situation of going through something difficult, of going through a time when you're wondering, where's this light at the end of the tunnel? Am I going to get through? Is there a decision I have to make that's going to make things worse? What can I do to make things better? Those happen every day, and this song just is kind of just about that. It's about, no, it's not over till it's over. Like, until the hammer drops, then keep going. You have to keep going.
Absolutely, and that's definitely something that I can see, not only from mental health standpoints and other standpoints, also from running a band from halfway across fully across a country also happens to apply.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And then with the song itself, Andrew wrote most of the lyrics of that one. It's funny, there'll be songs where I'll come to him with, this song pretty much fully done, and we'll kind of try and articulate exactly what needs to change, if anything, and then he'll do the same to me. And then sometimes it'll be fully, we'll sit down and flesh out the whole song start to finish right there. But this one, he brought the lyrics to me, and we changed a few things, but he pretty much had this stream of consciousness and just wrote all the lyrics, and I think it sounds like it flows extremely well, especially with the music in the back. Like, it's a slow build, and nothing really opens up until that last minute, and it's kind of like this breath of fresh air, this wave. That things are going to be okay.
Yes, they are. All right, let's dive into the latest single that you guys have released, that being Somebody. It's a fantastic song, a good listen. Also, very inspiring with the good message of somebody loves you. And you guys also did quite a fun music video for this song as well, and I want to dive a little bit into that. So you guys are just playing some instruments in a white room. What sort of brought the inspiration on for this simpler music video idea?
Yeah. Okay, so Somebody, yeah, love this one. That music video is pretty heavily inspired by Paul Simon's Graceland.
Yes.
And so when he did the music video for You Can Call Me Al with Chevy Chase.
That's actually exactly what I thought about that music video.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely meant to be the callback. We're not trying to steal anything. We're just trying to use a great idea. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole inspiration for that video. Obviously, we did things a bit differently with, kind of our roles, Andrew and I. And as we filmed the music video is all one take. And as we were filming, 3 or 4, 5 different takes, trying to get it right, cohesive the whole way through, different things would come up every time then the next shot, the next take, we would be like, okay, let's add that in here. Okay, at this part I'll do this. And so the music just kept evolving, the music video just kept evolving as the takes went on until I think the one that got released is the last one, which is probably right. Should be the best. Anyways, yeah, we just had so much fun with that. And we could have done something that pertained a lot more to the lyrics, but I think the music videos, it adds this, like you said, this fun, happy, energetic element that if you weren't already getting it from the song, it's just going to tip you more that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the sick dance moves and choreography came naturally then.
The sick dance moves, yeah. I choreographed my whole 4-minute set. So if anyone wants any tutorials, just send me a message. I'd be happy to show you how to do that.
If anyone has any upcoming music videos and they need some sick moves, let them know.
Yes.
Let him know. And of course, if you need anybody to catch a broken drumstick that just happens to be flying across the room, Andrew Allen, he's your man.
Yes, Golden. I'm stoked you saw that. Did he tell you about that, or did you just see it?
Oh, I watched the entire video, and I was just laughing the entire time, just watching you, just singing along and just having fun with it. And it's such a fun music video.
Sick. That's so good to hear. I'm stoked that's how you felt. That's exactly the reaction we want. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised you saw the drumstick catch, because that was crazy. That wasn't planned.
I was wondering, I was like, that had to be random, because how do you plan it to where it would just fling off in that perfect location in a one-shot video?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that just was planned.
Totally. And in the video, I stop at that part because I'm wondering where it landed, and then I look over and Andrew's got it in his hand, and we keep going. So there's this 1 or 2 seconds where I'm kind of in shock of what just happened, and then we keep going. It's really funny.
See, that's my thing. If that had happened and I was in there, I don't know how I would have held it together. I would have,
Totally. We're like, okay, sick. This take seems special. We have to finish now.
This is the 5th take. Come on, man. Just keep going. Fantastic. Well, I hope that the ambush goes and checks out this music video. They go and check out this album, Wonderland. Before I ask my last question, where else can they find out more about Via Barcelonia?
Woo. You can find out about us on Instagram, Via Barcelonia, Facebook if you're into that. And yeah, just keep following the YouTube as well, because that's where the videos are going to be. And then obviously Apple, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Amazon, anywhere you get your music, that's where we are as well. Lately, I guess most upcoming is going to be a video release premiere by Amplify magazine. Our video for Lost and Found, which is our newest single, coming out September 11th. The video is going to be premiered on September 10th through Amplify. So if you're following us on Instagram, you'll see that, and it'll premiere on our YouTube channel on September 11th at noon Eastern, I believe. So yeah, keep watch for that.
All right, fantastic. Last question. So, is somebody who's toured and played music with various different groups and happens to be going to school halfway across the country, studying, doing homework, all of this stuff, balancing all of these different aspects must be quite the task some days. So, do you have any advice for anybody else who's maybe having a little bit of difficulty balancing their creative aspects of their passions with their everything else that's going on with their lives?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I do feel that way quite often, where I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing, two, if my priorities are straight, if what I've got on the top shelf is actually what's meant to be there, or if I should switch things up. But at the end of the day, everything's just, you're still breathing, you're still going to wake up the next day, and yeah, as long as your mind's in the right place, I find that everything you're setting out to do, you're going to be able to accomplish. Specifically for doing things, I find it really beneficial. My dad told me this a couple of years back, but he said, when you're doing something, just focus on that one thing, especially when you have multiple things on the go. So even if it's something as simple as, if you're making your bed, just make your bed. Or in a situation like this, if you're in that creative zone and you're writing, then just write. Don't have 4 other tabs open where you're trying to get a lecture done. Or in my situation with the school, like you have 2 assignments on the go on the side, but you're still trying to write half a song. If you need to do the school or the work or anything in that professionalism side, then do that. Just focus on that. And then, I guess with every opportunity, you're just going to have to focus in and figure out if it's the right thing. It is different for everybody. But, I think the mindset is key. And if there's too much on your plate, it'll manifest itself pretty quickly, because you'll be burnt out. And then you just have to make the right changes.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the advice, and thank you so much for joining us here today to talk to us all about Via Barcelonia, your latest singles, and your upcoming album, Wonderland.
Woo!
Woo!
Thanks for talking, Colton, and thanks for listening, Ambush.
Yes, thank you for listening, Ambush, and now it's time that you went ahead and checked out the entirety of Wonderland. We have played 2 of the tracks off of it here for you today. That, of course, being It Ain't Over at the top of the show and Somebody in the middle of this episode. But now you can find Wonderland, yes, on your favorite music streaming service in its entirety and all of its glory, and you should definitely go ahead and do so. Go ahead and follow Via Barcelonia on your favorite music streaming service while you're there as well. And now it is the final roaring DTP. Thank you to Taylor McKnight of Via Barcelonia for joining us here on today's episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast. And I have to go ahead and thank the wonderful Mackenzie over at Strut Entertainment for setting the whole thing up. A final thank you to you, the Ambush, for joining us here today on this episode of the podcast. If you have yet to join the Ambush, well, we're kicking off year 4 now, and it is a great time to jump on. All you have to do is hit subscribe on your favorite podcast listening service. You can also help the show out by giving us a 5-star review, by sharing this episode, which is as easy as taking a screenshot of you listening to this episode. And then when you share that image, tag Desert Tiger, me, Colton G, or Via Barcelonia so we can show you love for doing so. You can also help Desert Tiger by heading to deserttigermerch.com and copying yourself some sweet Desert Tiger swag so that you can rep the show everywhere you go, showing off your love of everything Desi Tig. And yeah, we would love it if you went ahead and did that because it helps us more. All of that helps us more than you actually know it does, even just hitting the subscribe button. As we are now heading into year 4, and next week we're gonna keep year 4 going off high on positive energy as we're gonna be bringing you 3 separate interviews as we're gonna be joined by songwriting legend icon Chin Injeti on Tuesday, October the 13th, and on October the 16th we actually have two interviews coming your way. One of them is the return of Sanjay Saran to Desert Tiger, but this time we're not talking about Delhi to Dublin. No, we're talking about his new solo project Sanju and his lead debut single Jealousy. And we're also going to be talking to Josh Sahunta about his new single Leave Summer Behind. All 3 of these episodes next week on Desert Tiger. You don't want to miss them. So we'll catch you right here when those drop on Tuesday, 2 on Friday. And until then, you guys know what it is. I want you to go out there and find your oasis, to find your mountaintop, whatever it is that happens to make your heart shine. Sing and scream to its fullest glory and capacity. Find that thing and let your craft shine. And roar out across that canyon, roar out across that water, because you are capable of beautiful things, and you yourself, yes, you are beautiful too. And sometimes we don't hear that enough, so I'm going to repeat it. You are beautiful. And until next week, bye-bye.